Afternoon and welcome to today's Facebook Live, Miami's community newspapers and your Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce. And it's our first show of 2021. And guess what? We're all up in our fields thinking about those New Year's resolutions and most importantly, about pop culture today. And speaking of pop culture, nobody more iconic in this pop culture community than the one and only Grant Miller.
Grant Miller here.
Great to see you. Happy New Year. What music is this? This is Adele. So, all of us are waiting for Adele to drop a new album, hopefully in 2021. She's dropped a few pounds, so we have that in common. And most importantly, she is always, always an inspiration. And that's her song, When We Were Young.
Okay,
and
what are we going to talk
That's
about?
Our theme.
I got something for you. Hold on.
I love how you cannot sit still. You are literally out of your seat in the first 2 minutes of the show. I was thinking as I was watching all of the New Year's shows. So I was watching what was happening on Fox and CNN and Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen and Carson Daly. And all of them had fun headgear. But nobody's headgear rivaled yours, Grant Miller.
We got champagne.
Champagne.
Okay, so.
By the way, what did you do on New Year's? I kept waiting for a call.
I went to Arbiters.
Oh. I don't mean to laugh, but tell me what the New Year's dog is at Arbiters.
It's a Mark dog.
Imagine that. What does it come with? A lot of cheese, a lot of cheese may,
chili, everything.
Everything. You know what my favorite thing at Arbiters is, right?
What?
The tater tots.
They are good.
No.
And the onion rings are good too.
No. I am a tater tot aficionado. They are not just good. They are incredible. The last time I was there, I was with the lovely Amy Donner. And you were kind enough to pick up the tab. And so, she didn't want to have anything. So I get the big plate of tater tots and she's like, no, I'm good. And then she ends up eating half of my tater tots. And if you know me, I'm not great at sharing food, let alone sharing anything, but especially tater tots. I'm all in on tater tots, my friend.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it just goes back to grade school when you could get them. I think they were served like once a week or something like that. Public schools were very good about making sure you got your starches in.
Make sure we have comments on the side.
So you could have French fries one day, whipped potatoes the next day, tater tots, you name it. And I was really into tater tots.
Okay, so what happened? What did you do New Year's?
So I went to my niece and nephew's house.
In Miami Springs?
In Miami Springs. And she's Colombian. So she had told me it was very important that I wear yellow underwear. All right?
Wait. Dave Arbiter.
Yellow underwear.
Don't talk. Okay? Don't touch Mark's tots.
Doesn't Morgan know me well?
Okay, so Dave.
She told me yesterday, by the way, when I spoke to her, that after all of these years of being together, that she knows me. That kind of scared
me. So, Dave, can you repeat about the tater tots at Arbiters?
Oh, what I want to say is, Dave, first of all, I can only say this a million times. You have the best tater tots in all of Miami-Dade County. I have tried them all at every single place. I would eat tater tots for breakfast, lunch, dinner, a midnight snack. I'd eat them for dessert. And yours rock the tot world, my friend. Rock the tot.
We should get Dave Arbiter on the phone. I'm getting him on the phone. What?
I'm trying to hide my tots today because it's so cold in here. I usually have a jacket on.
Tell Mark to say thank you.
You're live right now.
Mark Trowbridge, you're the man. Thank you, Mark.
My pleasure, Dave. We love you. Proud of you. Happy New Year.
Hey, next time we go by, you want to see his name next to Tater Tots, the Mark Tater Tots.
Let's have a Mark Trowbridge day.
Listen, every day is Mark Trowbridge day, but I'm in and I'm on.
In the Gables, I'm talking Westchester though.
Westchester.
All right, see you later.
Count me in. So anyway, love you guys. My niece tells me that if you're in Colombia, you wear yellow underwear so that it's for prosperity. I just assume any brand, or any type. So I go online because now I have to expedite a pair of yellow underwear. I own a lot of underwear, but I don't own a single yellow pair. I used to have a pair with bananas on it, but they aren't yellow enough. So I order a pair.
I don't want to picture
Stacy Adams. So they're a nice silky boxer brief. They arrive the day before, so I get them in the wash. They've got nice blue buttons on the fly. Put them on, and I head over around 9 o'clock. So around 10:30, I need to pee and get ready for the midnight hour. And I go into the bathroom, and I can't get them unbuttoned. I haven't been drinking or anything, but I can't get them unbuttoned. So, I have to kind of pull down my entire, my jeans and the underwear to go to the bathroom. So, I get home that night and I take off my jeans.
Right.
I realize I've had my brand new underwear on backwards the entire time. So, I had been texting my niece during the day. I'm like, what is everybody else wearing? She had her aunt and uncle there, her cousin, her brother. They're all Colombian.
Right.
And not one of them wore yellow underwear. I was the only clown that did it, and I wore them backwards. So I worry that I negated all of that prosperity.
Is it real, or is it just...
No, I think, there are different cultures. So if you're in Spain, you would wear red. Venezuela, I think, wears red. But you know what? I got a nice new pair of yellow underwear. So I should have worn them for you today. And note to self, you always wear something over them. You don't just show up in the yellow underwear, which I also attempted to do. It was a nice warm evening on New Year's Eve. So,
okay.
And I ate my 12 grapes, which were fantastic.
What
and
does the 12 grapes have to do with anything?
It's for each month of the year that you want to have good luck and prosperity and health and family around you. And so I love grapes. So, I kind of wolfed those down. And
did they have dinner?
We did. We had a nice dinner. They had made rice and beans. They had made tacos.
Or her family?
No, her aunt and uncle were in from Bogota. Her brother and cousin live in Cincinnati, and they were there. My nephew, myself, and Diana. So there were 7 of us.
How do you keep away from each other?
So we really had a very socially distant couch, sectional, and then chairs from the kitchen. So, and masks. So, and then I got, as I always do, tested the following Sunday. And at my tropical park. Great job there, everybody. And
I know a family.
Love it.
They had a Christmas party on the 10th. 12 family members.
Okay. 10th of December.
Oh. Did you read the last sentence?
I saw that. I'm just going to become overwhelmed by that.
Can you read it to the audience?
It says Arbiters is officially naming our tater tots the Mark Trowbridge Tots. Thank you, Dave. You're so kind. I mean, there's nothing more exciting to be a tot next to your large quarter-pound hot dog.
Okay, so I know somebody, 12 family members.
Yeah, this
together.
Is December 10th.
One of them already had it.
Okay.
So
COVID.
She didn't spread it. The whole family got it.
11 people.
11 plus 16 other members got it.
So I was on a call yesterday with our coalition of chambers with our county mayor, Daniela Levine Cava. Madam Mayor, thank you again for joining us. But, this process of meeting and chatting with her began here as she listens to your show devotedly. And one of the things that was the great outcome of our conversation was that right now where you're seeing those high rates of spread is unfortunately within families. It's not kids going to school and getting exposed. It's them coming from home where they were exposed and going to school or going to work or going to church, wherever it may be. And it's pretty scary. I mean, when you talk about that,
hugging each other, they're all close to each other.
They don't know how to be any other way. And listen, I can't for a moment condemn that because it's a natural reaction. I talked to one of our board members today. She has not been going to work but 2 or 3 days a week for the last 10 months, and her entire family now has COVID. And listen, you don't want to ask the difficult questions, but it just reminds you that even within your family, you have to be really careful. And so that's one of the reasons that we were together on Thursday. I went on Sunday, got my negative results on Monday, felt very comfortable and confident in terms of, just the week ahead. I'm around a lot of people, even while I'm socially distant and masked. I go to the office every day. I come here. I spend time with you. I understand that, but you just never know. You must be diligent. And I heard today, as I was listening to the news on the way in to work, is that, we're going to wear our masks at some point, probably for the rest of our lives, because there may be a tough cold and flu season. And so you wear a mask.
Well,
and
it
even with a
changes.
vaccine. And yeah, there are different strains.
No, but I'm thinking before you wouldn't think of it. Now you're thinking about it.
Listen, you leave home with 2 things, right? Maybe 3: your wallet, your phone, your keys, your mask,
How many masks do you have in your
your
car?
cell phone.
I
I
have them all over my
probably
car.
have, so I've got maybe 6 that are like the cloth. Then there's always some that are in rotation to be washed and dried. And then I've got the medical ones, which are like emergency. I don't like wearing those.
K95s.
But in case you, for whatever reason, but, I wear my masks hard because I breathe heavy and, I'm active and I'm out and about. And, yesterday is a perfect example where, you're sort of doing your thing and maybe you burp a little bit and you just get the backwash like nobody's business. My eyes are watering, and I know I can't be the only person, but I'm owning it in 2021.
Well,
It's all about being candid.
All right, resolutions. Let's talk about your resolutions for 2021. I know you plan to lose another 30, 40 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, the weight loss thing is always a goal, and just being, present in that process. I think I shared with you on our last show, I'm focused on, home improvement. So my nephew and I did a big planting job, which is really awesome in the front of my house. We had gone to Home Depot and picked up. I couldn't decide what rocks I wanted. I do.
I love Home Depot. Even though
I can
don't get
always
anything.
find something there. And Jenny, shout out to Jenny at the Hialeah store. She works the home and garden and outdoor area, and always checks me out.
Literally?
No, I think she checks me out. She's definitely not checking me out. And I couldn't decide between these like little white marble rocks, little pea gravel. I wanted to put something down. So my nephew had suggested, that we put down sort of this, tarp that would go over the little bit of grass that was left, and then planted 7 different plants. So I've got everything from a gardenia to an ixora, to a hibiscus. I live on hibiscus, so I have a hibiscus, to desert rose. I've got a bunch of different 7 different varieties, all different blooms and colors. I have a blue house, of course, and we went with a red rock because I'm a gator, so my house is blue, my roof is orange.
No way.
Yeah, my house is orange and blue.
Wow.
I am a devoted gator.
Let's talk about book club.
Sure.
You always have great ones.
So we're very lucky. This is one of those rare programs that really became a part of our programming portfolio as a result of COVID. We didn't have a book club before. We had done some summer reading programs and worked with Books and Books over the years on a number of author events. But the real sort of, desire that I have is A, I love to read, B, I love books, and C, the fact that people might be reading the same book and you can converse and talk about that, to me, is just a great joy. And so at the end of the day, I can tell you this. We've been doing this for about 6 or 7 months. It's been very well received. It has been 100% virtual. And we tell people 2 things. One, you don't have to have read the book in advance. So take a little pressure off yourself. And then secondly, when you come to the event, be fully engaged.
How many people participate by Zoom?
I would say on average about 25.
In person, what was it?
We never did it in person. So it grew out of COVID. When we did some events with Books and Books, we might have an event that had anywhere from 15 to 200, depending if we had, maybe an author talking with us about, how to, manage your time, all the way up to someone like a Rachel Hollis or an Andy Cohen, a program, or, the last one we did, which was with Candace Bushnell, which we did in September of last year.
What other events
ago.
We got the women's event?
We do. A couple of women's events. So, this is...
we got one tomorrow, right?
We have tomorrow a Wind Down Wednesday, and we have a Reconnect, and then Friday is Book Club.
Is that virtual or in person?
So the Wind Down Wednesday will be in person. It'll be our second one. We did one back in December as a test run. We had 18 people there, and so we're at full capacity for tomorrow at 30, partnering with the Bar Association. It is at Bay 13 Brewery and Kitchen, Nick Sharp's new location. So they have that huge outdoor patio.
Now,
and it's going to be awesome.
Does that count the fountain?
So I asked Nick that the last time, because you had asked me that, and he said to me, wink, absolutely. So I think people end up spreading out there. We're not going to be a seated group. So I think some of our folks will purposely socially distance around the fountain. Should be a cooler night tomorrow night and should be beautiful. So we're really excited.
Hats off to you guys for doing it.
Well, I appreciate it. And listen, hats off to Nick for hosting us, to the Bar Association for partnering with us, Erica and the team for putting that together. You know, we're very careful with all of our decision making. And so the reason we piloted that back in December was to see what the level of tolerance was, how we could socially distance. We did it at Clutchburger back in December, and we did it with Gringo Bingo, which was a lot of fun. But the reality was that, you know, we did okay. And we tracked everybody afterwards, how everybody's health was, you know, 100% well. We'll have a few more people with us tomorrow night, but
this is a huge step for the chamber.
I think it is for us and for other chambers. I mean, like I said, I'm on a call with that group every few weeks, and we were on one yesterday. And, you know, people are beginning to explore in-person events. I think a few other chambers have done more than we have done. We're probably somewhere in the middle of the pack. And then there are some that have done nothing in person as of yet. And some who've not returned to the office as of yet. You know, we've been back for months. We've been back since May. Staggering, alternating, people working from home every other day. Like Morgan's at home today, but Erica's in the office with me. Ileana's there. Yvette is at home.
I know somebody, not personally, having a wedding, 300 people, all sitting right next to each other.
Recently?
Yeah.
First wedding?
I don't know. It wasn't mine. I observed it.
I mean, I don't mean to make a face about that, but listen, I'll share with you something we made a decision on about an hour ago, and that is our New Year's event we are not going to do. We had planned for that a week from today in person at the Biltmore. Would have been about 100 people, and after talking with our senior leadership, after talking with our team yesterday, and meeting with UHealth today, everybody's just a little bit nervous, and I don't want to host an event where anybody's nervous at all.
Why say UHealth? You're getting
Great medical advice from them. And you know what? I talked with Myrna. She had talked with Mary and the team. And listen, we're heading into another cycle, not only related to COVID, but flu season. And so we're seeing some pretty significant numbers. The county mayor shared yesterday that the 14-point average percentage of infection was above 10%. And our internal goal was to be at 7% or under. So we're not there. CDC wants you to be at 5 or under. We're certainly not there. So you know what? We're going to make the right decision.
And what will 5% be? That's months.
Could be. It will be a combination of the vaccine, getting out of cold and flu season, and I think just continuing to be diligent in your wearing of masks, getting tested, and doing anything that you can to mitigate. So we're not going to host that event. I'm sad because, listen, we already had about 60 people
who want it
of our 100 who'd already registered, had already paid and registered. We had 4 restaurants committed to do food. We had a beautiful layout. But, when you talk with folks and what we've seen, we had to do the planning because you can't just then say, all right, we're good to go. But we did predict that if we got to this point, and it's a little worse than I think we thought. Listen, we had a 2-day period over New Year's where we had 31,000 new cases in Florida. Now, that was a 2-day period, but that tells you that the average on both those days is around 15,000, 16,000. The day before that, New Year's Eve day, 17,000. That's the highest number of infections since the pandemic began in Florida. So we don't have to be rocket scientists to say we need to stand down on that. So,
Raul Martinez, you're on live with Grant Miller and your MC, Mark from Coral Gables Chamber. You want to say hi to everybody?
Well, hello, everyone. It's great to be with you.
Can I just remind everybody that Raul and I have known each other for more than 20 years.
He's talking great stuff about
you.
He
is not only a great friend, but a great confidant. And nobody worked harder at Super Bowl 33 than Raul Martinez Jr., ladies and gentlemen.
He's praising you.
He worked at the airport at the time, and he introduced me to his boss, and I will never forget that, Raul.
All right. I'll call you.
Welcome. Great. I'd like to know that I'm going to visit European Collision, one of your clients, because I read about them in community newspapers.
Oh, I thank you.
What a great endorsement.
Who did you deal with there, Ravi?
I'm going to find out right now. I'm pulling in right now.
Okay, his son. He's the son is a Gator baseball player, an outstanding
And a Columbus guy, right?
and a Columbus guy. So tell him Grant Miller will take care of you. See you later.
You guys.
Bye.
Bye, Rollo. So speaking of
I love that
great
family.
referrals and recommendations, you sent us a referral about 2 weeks ago for the new owners of El Car Wash.
Right?
And so, Justin, I want to congratulate him on his new venture. They're getting ready to open, I think, in Pinecrest.
Well,
And,
they call it Palmetto. They call it Pinecrest, but it's really in Palmetto Bay.
Okay.
But they're rocking and rolling, right?
They're doing a great job. Matter of fact, unsolicited, I was with a friend on Saturday, and she was remarking how my car was clean for like the first time in about 6 months. And I said, well, that my niece had asked me if she could help me clean out my car because she loves to organize. And it was a great gift to give to her where she could get into my car and throw stuff away. But more importantly, then I went and got it washed and detailed. And there's a little hideaway in Hialeah that I love to go to,
Right.
where you can get your car done for $25. And they do a great job. It takes them about an hour. So you have to be patient, or you got to walk across to the Dunkin' Donuts, or you can do
That's
both.
good enough for me.
And so she said, I just got my car. I said, well, where do you go? She goes, I go to this place that I've fallen in love with called El Car Wash. I said, I just met Justin through Grant Miller. And I said, we're going to get together in the early part of the new year. And he and his wife have a new baby. And we just want to really congratulate.
You just had it, right?
Yeah, it came a little bit earlier than expected, but right before New Year's.
Good people. All right. January plans for the chamber.
So I just mentioned to you, some disappointing news, but the right news about our New Year's event. But don't you worry. We're still going to have some really great virtual-based programs. We have our women's lunch on the 19th, and that's going to focus on healthy eating. I know a lot of folks set New Year's resolutions around weight loss, healthier eating, clean eating. Those are all things that are big trends in 2021. A lot of folks invested in bicycles in the pandemic, bought Pelotons and bicycles and other types of workout
How
equipment.
about that new machine? It's on the wall.
I haven't seen that.
And it's like, and you
Tonal.
what's it called?
Tonal?
Yeah.
Oh, is it like a Bowflex?
I'll pull it up over here.
How about there's another great machine that is also you put up against the wall. It requires
TV?
modest electricity.
TV?
A snack machine. You will need quarters or dollar bills. So yeah, I think that's going to be great for those that want to hear from a gastroenterologist who can talk to you. She's with UHealth. I apologize, I don't know her name off the top of my head, but that's on the 19th. We're having a really cool impact seminar on the 20th, and it's called Dear 46. It's a love letter from the business community to our new president, and we're going to talk with Eric Eichenberg about the environment.
Wait. Eric Eichenberg?
From the Everglades Foundation.
He's coming on next week, I think.
He is. He might give you a little preview of what we're doing on the 20th.
You know who's interviewing him?
Kristen.
No. Carlos Jimenez's granddaughter.
Really?
Who's a tree hugger.
Well,
so
I think environmentalist is a nice name.
Environment. I told Eric.
His granddaughter must be relatively young.
6th grade.
Okay.
But Carlos Jimenez, 50% of his district is in the Everglades.
Absolutely. So think about Carlos's new seat. He's getting inaugurated. This is his first full week.
It's today, isn't it?
I think inauguration is today for the new members of the House. But no rest for the weary. He finished his role as county mayor mid-November. Goes through orientation. Makes the move, if you will, up to D.C. with Lourdes and begins his tenure. But that district is incredibly important because whether it was Debbie Mercosile-Powell or Carlos Curbelo before, or even Joe Garcia, it has always been a very swing district, but very focused on water, the Everglades, our national parks, and resources. And you have to be pretty nimble when it comes to serving that constituency, because there it isn't about Republicans, Democrats, or independents. It's about who can communicate a vision and will care for those, pristine waters. That is, for us, our future.
Well, he's going to do a great job.
He is. He actually sent me today a reminder that when we go to Tallahassee virtually, that they would like us to help, quote, carry the water to Tallahassee.
You mean Washington?
No, this is going to be for Tallahassee.
Oh, okay.
That they would like the state to hold harmless their $332 million appropriation that they get, which I'm sure is used to match federal dollars out of WRDA and other appropriations. But the state has $332 million that goes directly for Everglades restoration. I mean, that's a billion dollar project that will take a lifetime to correct. But Eric is a great advocate, a great evangelist, and I can't wait till we have him on our program. We'll also have the honorable,
because
he's
just good.
Yeah, and he's so even keeled in terms of, look at the science, but look at the issues. And he also is very politically astute. And listen, it's hard to find people who really can work and play in all of those different silos.
Where did he come from before this?
He was at the state level, right? And then worked in Washington as well.
We forget,
I believe he worked with Senator Lemieux, right?
We forget that the Everglades, where we are, was here 100 years ago, 300 years ago. The Everglades covered the whole state, correct?
Listen, water is everything. We're a state now of 21 million people. We're expected to, by 2030, to be closer to 25 million. That's going to happen in a decade. That growth is incredible. And where are they coming from? Well, they're coming from New York. They're coming from California. They're coming from places where, people have grown weary of overregulation or not being able to live their best life. And Florida looks not only good on a map, but it looks good on paper. There's no state income tax. And so we sustain ourselves with very important industries, agriculture, certainly tourism, and the ability to, stand up on our own 2 feet. We're the third largest state in the union. That happened over the last 2 or 3 years, growing rapidly. And bigger than that, $1 trillion economy.
It's crazy.
So think about that. We're like the 18th economy if we were a country in the world. And as we come out of COVID, we're going to see that restoration very, very quickly. So we have to do our part. I'm sure we all saw the news today about what's happening in the UK. I mean, they have seen a unbelievable spread of this new strain of the virus. It's 70% more communicable. That's pretty scary. So they are back in lockdown. We have to avoid that. Our businesses cannot sustain it. I think the mental health of our good people would struggle with that. Our students are struggling, and I give a lot of credit to the superintendent, but it's tough having kids back in school and the contact tracing, and they're sometimes in and they're sometimes out. But it was so important to get them back to school, and he's done a yeoman's task to make that healthy and safely.
Where'd that come from, yeoman's?
A yeoman's? I don't know. I feel like it's something from medieval time, right?
Well,
maybe.
I just want you to
Chaucer. We don't talk enough about Henry Chaucer.
Look at this. Somebody asked about an eating contest.
So I'm going to tell you something that's really embarrassing.
What?
I am not good at eating contests. I don't eat quickly enough. I think because I have enlarged tonsils, I can't down a hot dog like, Kobayashi. And I like to savor my food. So I'm all for a tot throwdown where I'm like the judge or the MC.
Where they can film at you.
A taste tester. Or if you want to throw them at me, I'll do my best to catch them.
So,
I like them dressed a little bit. So Dave, if you're still listening, I know you serve them naked, which to me is, the way they were born. But I don't mind putting a little, sour cream, a little cheese sauce, and some chives on it either, ladies and gentlemen. So much for that New Year's resolution, right?
Mine started out pretty good. I bit the back of my tongue.
I feel like you're struggling right now. Like I'm causing you pain because you have to.
Vaccine rollout. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so great call yesterday again with Daniela, and I want to thank the mayor for her time. She talked with us about the work of her chief medical officer. She really had 3 or 4 immediate priorities, and let me tell you, she hit the ground running. She was building her team at the same time. We're looking forward to George Andrews joining her team from Miami-Dade College, who will be overseeing some of the portfolio related to what chambers are working on, economic recovery and vitality, sustainability. He'll be joining on the 11th. But we can all agree that the vaccine rollout has taken more time than we hoped for. But the reality is we need to be patient. There is a process where you can go to the Miami-Dade .gov site backslash, I think, vaccine. And our seniors, we're getting ready to roll that out to them. It's great to see many of our local hospitals having access to that. But folks, do your homework, figure out the process, sign up, and get the vaccine. We're now into about week 3. So some of the folks that got the first round at Pfizer are now going back this week for the second round. The efficacy, if you just take the first round, is only at 65%. When you take both in conjunction 3 weeks apart, over 90%. That is remarkable. It shows you 2 things: the ingenuity of collaboration and the incredible scientists who collaborated in this process, put their egos aside, and found a way to make our citizens safer and healthier during this pandemic. Who could have thought about this a year ago as we started in a new decade full of optimism, full of excitement, getting ready in this community to host a Super Bowl? And the next thing we know, we've had an economy that's literally been shuttered for 10 months. We have to do better. We have to work harder. And thankfully, you'll see, I think, the vaccine move much more quickly as the supply chain is replenished and the opportunity for other drugs that are also being approved to come online. So whether you get Pfizer or Moderna or AstraZeneca, get vaccinated.
I'm waiting.
I know.
I'm ready. Okay. The CARE Act 3.0.
Yeah, so I think most of you know that the House and the Senate, right before the holidays, passed the 3.0 CARES Act, which put additional money into the EIDL, put additional money into PPP. And so I've been on a number of calls over the last couple of days about that kind of third rollout and reopening of the PPP. It has not happened yet, but get ready, do your homework. If you have experienced an additional loss of 25% of your gross profits, you can get additional PPP money. So pay attention, folks. Do your homework. We're going to do a program on it. I'm sure my peer chambers and my colleagues are going to do much of the same. But the president, who originally was not going to sign it because he wanted to see more money in Americans' pockets related to stimulus, went ahead and signed that. And I do think the House and the Senate will come back together at some point. The House already did on the 2000. The Senate is kind of dead in the water. But don't forget, there's a significant election today in Georgia, and those polls will be closing in about 3 hours, and that could determine the
I have a lot of ballots I'll send up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, please do. My mother loves to talk about ballot conspiracy. She's absolutely convinced that that Donald Trump won the presidency, but, God bless her. Love you, Mama.
Expo? You got an expo idea coming up?
Yeah, so I'm having a meeting this week. One of the things that we did twice a year is that we did a small business expo. And for our small businesses, it was a very easy way for them to showcase their products and services for a very low price. For $250, they had access to our full membership. And so we've not been able to do that. That used to take place in March in the springtime. So we're looking at recreating that, but in a virtual way. So stay tuned for that. We're going to continue to pivot in some of the larger scale programs. So things that are under the 50 number, let's say, we'll be much more comfortable and confident of bringing those online live before we would an event like the New Year's event that used to have 400 plus people at, or, possibly even a breakfast that might have 200 people at it. So stay tuned. We've got a great partner and vendor who we've worked with, and he's going to showcase. We've already seen one kind of iteration. He's got a new product to show us on these virtual expo and business showcase.
New members, new gems, new trustees.
Yeah, so very blessed that last month we had 10 new members join the chamber.
And what is the average before last year?
Before COVID, it would be 15 to 17.
So you're doing great.
We're hanging in there. So it's not ideal in terms of, our normal process, but in terms of where we've been through the fall. So if you look at kind of September through August, we were September through December, we were somewhere in the neighborhood of probably, 35 new members. Not the number you want to be, but a little more than 50 to 60% of our number. Our retention's a little bit higher than where we budgeted, but lower than where we've been in the past. And we had 2 new trustees join us, a great company called Mosaicist. I want to thank our good friend Ray Corral. If you don't know who Ray is,
I don't know.
and Mosaicist, he is a preeminent designer for pools. So if you want to put in a new pool, he will create for you a piece of art. It isn't just a hole in the ground that you swim in. It is beautiful mosaic tiles, all designed for you. And we connected with him through a fellow member and had a great conversation. And he joined us right before year end. And so I just want to say thank you. And it's great to have you in our fold. We've had a number of trustees join over the last 2 months, but we've got work to do.
Yeah, 2. You named both of them?
Yes, and I'm going to blank on the other one for a moment. So maybe Morgan can put it in the chat for me.
Any gem highlights you want to talk about?
I think the big things are that we're constantly looking for programming for the gems. So there's a lot of programs available to them gratis. We're doing something with them for our book club this Friday. So any gems that participate, we're actually buying them a copy of the book by Gino Wickman called Traction. So just looking for different things. We did some very socially distant lunches with gems back in December. So we met with about 5 of them back in December over lunch, just to say thanks so much for everything you do. And the reality is that we have to keep very, very focused with our members, especially in these times. The other one is MG Developer, and they're a former trustee that has returned. They build beautiful townhomes in Coral Gables. They're actually working on one now called Beatrice Row. They've worked with a wonderful architect named Benny Torre, Alirio Torrealba, who is their principal, a wonderfully gifted developer, but also a generous corporate citizen, especially in the public art space. So if you drive past City Hall and you make your way as you're going towards the Biltmore on Biltmore Way, there's this beautiful art installation of like a large couch, a lamp, and a rug. And he did that public art. Very dedicated, has worked with us on a number of things. And in February, we're going to be hosting MG Developer at a panel on the kind of what's next in real estate. That'll be headlined by Ron Sheffield and others. So,
right. So speaking about that, what's next in Coral Gables?
So I think what's next is threefold. One, I think we're going to continue as a chamber.
Is that the restaurant or Threefold?
Which one?
I'm just teasing you. Threefold.
Oh, it is threefold. Oh, I got you.
Okay.
I'm thinking about Nick all the time. Apparently you are too.
Right here.
How about our other new restaurant that joined this month called Gramercy? I got to have lunch there and met the team that works for Roman Jones, 65 Miracle Mile. It's in the old Tarpon Bend space. And it's gorgeous inside. Absolutely lovely. And listen, it's a very eclectic menu. It has sushi. It has kind of a fusion, if you will, of different cuisines. And the team is just great. And they're going to launch something called room service here in the next quarter. And that's when we'll really be celebrating Roman and his team. But the decor inside is incredible. You feel like you've walked into a cross between of, no, but maybe an Italian Renaissance castle and just beautiful tapestries and this unbelievable mural of Salvador Dali. So go see Jamie and the team over there, and they'll take good care of you. So I interrupted you. Oh, what's next for us? So again, I think it falls into kind of three buckets. No, you tried to make a funny, and I didn't catch it. Is that we're going to continue to be very focused on educating and advocacy, especially around PPP forgiveness and CARES Act 3.0. Our programming is going to continue, I think, to be very strong. Some of our biggest, most regarded programs happen in the first quarter. So you heard about the program we're going to do with MG Developer, the Deer 46 program. We're going to stay in that virtual space, but again, continue to explore as appropriate, live and in person. And I think the last piece is just, really activating our new home. As people are venturing out more, as they're coming to the office more. A lot of folks, January 4th, yesterday was kind of the return. I know some folks have kicked the can down the road to April or June, but there are more folks out and about. I see it in traffic. I see it in our own building. But I think, we're really going to be able to activate our welcome center and bring the energy to the chamber office, which it was designed to have as we came, to be at Alhambra Circle.
Can you talk about what Patrick O'Connell's doing?
I will, and I know that Patrick has been on a previous show with you. So Patrick's our immediate past chair, but he is the co-founder and one of the leaders of Illuminate Coral Gables. So mark your calendars for February 12th. That's a Friday. That happens to be Valentine's weekend and President's Day weekend. And Illuminate will light up Coral Gables. And I will tell you this, really, really excited about something that is unique that comes to Coral Gables and is really special for our folks. And it's going to be fully outside, so you can be fully activated and comfortable, still wear your mask, but you'll be able to walk around our downtown and see these wonderful art installations that are just incredible. So I love it. I appreciate Patrick and for all of his great work. And even better than that, I will tell you this.
What?
It is truly a pleasure to have Illuminate in Coral Gables.
Absolutely. When do we wrap it up?
Well, Grant, I can't believe it's the first show of 2021.
51 more to go.
We closed the door on 2020, probably with more of a slam than a slightness, but we did so that we could look forward. I think all of us are optimists at heart. We had a rough one, and I think we embraced that roughness and used that as a motivation for a stronger, better 2021. I know the business community is excited about that. Most importantly, we are excited as a chamber to help lift all spirits, lift all tides, and help our small businesses survive and thrive in 2021. Thanks to our partners and friends at Miami's community newspapers for always opening their doors and their arms to us and our #1 ranked Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Have a great